Ethiopia, home to over 120 million people and a rising economy, faces a major obstacle. It's landlocked. With no coastline, Ethiopia must rely on neighboring countries for all imports and exports, making trade expensive and vulnerable to outside pressures. This dependence gives its neighbors significant leverage over Ethiopia's economy and security. Decades ago, Ethiopia had direct access to the sea through Eritrea's coastline, with the port of Assab as its main gateway. But after Eritrea's independence in the early 1990s, Ethiopia lost its coastline overnight, a loss that still shapes its politics and ambitions. Today, Ethiopia's leaders see regaining sea access as a matter of national survival. The memory of Assab looms large in every diplomatic move and economic plan. The search for a solution to this landlocked dilemma is now one of Ethiopia's greatest challenges. The stakes are high. The country's future growth and stability depend on finding a way to the sea. The question remains, how can Ethiopia overcome its geography and history to secure its place in the world? To understand why Ethiopia can't use Assab, we need to revisit its complex history with Eritrea. After World War II, Eritrea was federated with Ethiopia, but many Eritreans resisted, feeling their identity was being erased. Ethiopia's annexation of Eritrea in 1962 sparked a brutal 30-year war for independence. Eritrean fighters eventually prevailed, and in 1993, Eritrea became a sovereign nation. For a brief moment, the two countries cooperated. Ethiopia used Assab and trade flowed, but old resentments and disputes over borders and trade quickly resurfaced. In 1998, a border skirmish escalated into a devastating war, shattering any hope of partnership. Tens of thousands died, and when peace finally came, the border slammed shut. Diplomatic ties were severed, and Ethiopia lost access to Assab for good. The wounds of war and mistrust have kept the gate to the sea firmly closed. The legacy of conflict still defines relations between these two neighbors. The hope for reconciliation remains distant. For Ethiopia, Assab is more than a port, it's a lost lifeline. Its proximity to Addis Ababa made it the most efficient and cost-effective route for trade, benefited from port fees while Ethiopia enjoyed lower transport costs. The infrastructure, roads, even an oil refinery was built for this partnership. But after the war, Assab became a ghost town, its docks silent and economy shattered. For Eritrea, keeping Assab closed is a matter of sovereignty and security. For Ethiopia, it's a constant reminder of what was lost. Every discussion about Ethiopia's future circles back to Assab. The port remains a powerful symbol of both opportunity and division. Geography suggests cooperation, but history keeps them apart. Eritrea's refusal to open Assab isn't just stubbornness, it's rooted in deep mistrust. Decades of war and perceived Ethiopian aggression have left Eritrea wary of dependence. Leaders in Asmara fear that reopening Assab would give Ethiopia leverage and threaten Eritrean sovereignty. The border war of 1998 to 2000 only deepened these fears. Eritrea's identity is built on self-reliance and resistance, even at economic cost. Brief moments of peace, like in 2018, quickly faded as old suspicions returned. For Eritrea, the risk of opening Assab to Ethiopia still feels too high. With Assab closed, Ethiopia turned to Djibouti for sea access. Today, over 95% of Ethiopia's trade passes through Djibouti's port. Longer route raises costs for businesses and consumers, making Ethiopian exports less competitive. Relying on a single port in another country is risky. Any disruption could cripple Ethiopia's economy. Djibouti holds immense leverage, and Ethiopia's leaders know their economic security is fragile. Ethiopia has tried developing alternative routes like Berbera in Somaliland, but none match Assab's proximity or capacity. A better solution continues, but options are limited. Ethiopia's landlocked status remains a costly burden. The logic for cooperation is clear. Ethiopia needs a port, Eritrea needs revenue. Reopening Assab could transform both economies, creating jobs and prosperity. But decades of conflict and mistrust overshadow these benefits. Eritrea's leaders, shaped by a long struggle for independence, see Ethiopia as a threat to their sovereignty. Ethiopians, meanwhile, feel the loss of their coastline as a national wound. Competing grievances fuel a cycle of suspicion, making compromise elusive. Even brief moments of hope, like the 2018 peace deal, proved fragile. Without trust and reconciliation, any agreement is likely to collapse. The past continues to haunt every attempt at progress. Today, the dream of Ethiopia using Assab remains distant. Both nations pay the price for mistrust, Ethiopia with costly trade, Eritrea with lost opportunity. Real change would require bold leadership and a willingness to break from the past. Ethiopia must fully accept Eritrea's sovereignty and offer a deal based on mutual respect. Eritrea would need to overcome its fears and open the door to partnership. Building trust will take time, small steps, and genuine dialogue. The vision of a thriving Assab port serving both nations is powerful, but for now, it's just a dream. The shadow of history still looms over the